and
one nation,
under God,
God, indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and
with
justice
liberty
for
and
all.
justice for all. All right. With that, we are going to start with an opening statement. Good evening. We greatly appreciate our staff, council, and residents adapting to our teleconferencing format due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Tonight's meeting will be held under Minnesota State Statute 13D.021 that permits a public body to hold a meeting via telephone or other electronic means due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For members of the public, the meeting is being live streamed on the City of Wyoming YouTube page. The Wyoming City Council meeting will be recorded as part of the public record. After each agenda item as read and staff gives a report on the agenda item, I will call upon each council member individually if they have questions on that particular item. If you wish to make a motion or a second motion, please state your name first. All votes on all items will be completed by roll call to meet the standard for the state statute 13D.021. Thank you very much. We will start with open forum, and we did not receive, I'm just confirming, we did not receive any questions.
That is correct.
All right.
Mayor Iverson, sorry to jump in quick. Administrator Little, can you double check the YouTube? I'm checking it now, and it doesn't look like the live is loaded right now.
It is up. I'm watching it right now. It's up.
Yeah, I've got mine on saying it's live and recording.
Okay.
All right. All right. We'll move on to approval of minutes, which is number 1 on our agenda. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for April 21st, 2020. If there are no comments, questions, or changes, do we have a motion to approve? Please state your name.
Member Schilling, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Member Luger seconds.
We have a second by Member Luger. I will do roll call. Please state aye or nay. Member Zeros.
Abstain.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
And Member Iverson, Mayor Iverson is aye. We'll move on to number 2, the consent agenda. There's only one. Consider authorizing the payments of recommended bills, payroll, journal entries for the period of April 22nd, 2020 through May 5th, 2020. If there are no questions, we do need a motion to approve by stating your name.
Member Schilling, make that motion.
Member Schilling moves to approve. Do we have a second?
Member Luger will second.
Member Luger places the second. I will place roll call. Member Zeros.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye. We will move on to reports from officer boards, commissions, and department heads. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on our agenda. Does anybody wish to pull an item for further discussion? Not hearing any items to be pulled, we'll move on to communications, number 8. Ms. Dumas, would you like to have an update on the COVID-19 public engagement survey? Were you going to do a follow-up?
Yep, I can do that. So we just wanted to kind of loop back around with the council to kind of share what we had done following the Polko surveys that we had done of the residents and businesses on kind of how Wyoming is responding to COVID and how we can really support those communities. So looking at the responses, some of the things that we saw, one, there was just a lot of concern about not knowing what people should do in the case that they or one of their loved ones would get sick. And so we really made an effort to push out through our social media, newsletter, website, information about what people can do if they are to get sick, how they can utilize different services that the state is offering. There's a couple different digital tools that they've developed, such as a testing tool, or it's a communication tool to see if you can get testing, and then also some tools directing people to testing facilities. Just a lot of general resources from the state's that can help support people if they are concerned about if they have the disease or what they should do, or the virus. The other thing that we saw is a lot of people being concerned about mental health and concerned about just having a lot of anxiety. So one of the things that the CDC recommends in order to help people manage that is to get outside and to have some activity. So one of the recommendations from the Park Advisory Commission was to do some type of social media engagement activity. So we put out an outdoor scavenger hunt on our Facebook account that had really positive feedback and hopefully got a couple of people outside. And we also shared some resources from the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources on how to get outside while also respecting social distancing and being safe while doing so. Finally, we wanted to make sure we also got resources to our businesses to help connect them with any resources. So we'd shared some resources both through social media as well as through a newsletter we sent out to businesses. There was a webinar that helped businesses in the area that we sent out some resources from the state and federal government about programs that are available, and just tried to really keep that communication open with them. So these are kind of the main themes that we saw from that. And we are going to be continuing to send out information about COVID and on these themes, but we wanted to kind of loop back around with you all just on this kind of first push out after that survey. And then we're also looking for the next Polco survey to really focus on asking people's perceptions of our city streets and what they hope to see there in the future. And I'll stand for questions.
Ms. Dumas, that is a great presentation on the survey, and I think it's been really well received and a great job. From council, if you do have a question, please state your name. All right, no questions. We'll move on to new business. Number 9, which is, if you're following along, is page 51 in your packets. Number 9, to consider resolution 20-05-48, a resolution approving change order number 1 for the 300,000 gallon water tower rehabilitation, city project number 2002. Mr. Erickson, are you on the line?
I am. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Hopefully you can hear me all okay.
Yes.
We have,
Okay.
we had previously discussed when we awarded a contract, reducing the total contract price by eliminating a number of bid items that were really wish list items, but non-essential to the maintenance or the rehabilitation of that water tower. And so with that, we are following through with that discussion, and we're simply bringing forward a change order that we discussed in at the award of contract, eliminating bid items 13, 15, 16, 17, 20, 22, 23, 27, and 29, reducing the overall project cost by $76,500, bringing the total revised contract price now to $520,548. So staff is recommending that the city council eliminate those non-essential bid items and approve resolution accepting the change order number 1.
Right, and Mr. Erickson, this is just more of just some business to take care of, right? Because we did approve it at the last meeting, and this is just making sure that the language and everything they're doing is correct.
That is correct.
All right, I will, if any council member would like to ask a question, please state your name.
Zerwas.
Member Zeros?
Mark, I'm just wondering, those items that have been eliminated, is that going to create a problem sooner down the road, 5 years from now?
No, you know, I think there are wish lists. I think they may be tackled. Public Works may look to eventually take care of a few of these that, you know, or maybe are a little bit higher on their priority list, but certainly not essential to this project. They are components that are items that our prime contractor would not necessarily do in-house themselves and would hire a subcontractor. And so, you know, if they are tackled in a future date, they may be able to be accommodated and done so at no net increase to what was actually bid as well. And so we're pretty comfortable moving forward at this point in eliminating these items at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Erickson, this is Mayor Iverson. I think I just want to clarify that when the bids went out, we had been planning for this rehabilitation. When the bids went out, I think we were a little more surprised at the cost. And so when we're talking wants versus needs, which is why we did remove some of this stuff, knowing that it could be done later on or with staff, correct?
That's correct. Very well stated.
All right, if there are no further questions, we need a motion to approve, and please state your name.
Member Luger will move.
Sure.
Member Luger is the first motion. Do we have a second?
Second by Zerwas.
Member Zeros makes the second, and I will do roll call, please. Member Zeros,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye, and it passes. We'll move on to number 10, which is page 55, to consider a Wyoming City Council work session for a street capital improvement plan and virtual road and project tour on Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 6 p.m. I'm not sure if Mr. Linwood or Mr. Erickson is taking this one.
I can start with this one, Mayor. Mayor, members of council, this is City Administrator Linwood. This is an annual exercise for the council that we've been doing since 2017, where we've physically gone out and got a bus, and it's been a good opportunity for the council and for staff to have eyes on the same items, to whether it's street improvement as part of our street CIP or actual completed or upcoming projects. With the help of WSB and then some extra due diligence by staff, we would still like to hold this event in the sense that we'll be looking at virtual. We have staff will be taking some pictures utilizing Google Earth as far as project areas and street views for certain items. And then WSB is going to be able to utilize their virtual car that can capture some current conditions of streets in Wyoming. As the council is aware, we've been working to update our street CIP plan. We do have one in place, but it's often as we look at our preservation, street preservation plan and maintenance plan, that we like to update that, and council has suggested they'd be interested in trying to look at doing not only reconstruction projects, but potentially to look at some mill and overlay projects and overlay projects as we move forward. So this will be just an opportunity for staff and council to look at some of those potential updates for that CIP, and then to try to evaluate what kind of financial impacts that would mean if the council were interested in pursuing some of those other projects. So I think this is a necessary and a really good work session that we do annually to try to get everyone on the same page, and as we move forward, and kind of a prioritized high item to keep improving our streets, as we've, I think, done a really great job so far, but continue to be able to continue that and maintain them. So with that, I'll stand with any questions.
All right, Mr. Linwood, I have a couple questions. This is Mayor Iverson. When we're talking virtual road tour, are we going to do this by Zoom and then you'll be sharing the screen, or what's the format we'll be using?
I think what we're going to look to do is we'll probably do both. I think we'll look to have a pretty substantial packet with pictures and examples that we send out to the council. Staff's working on that this week. We'll try to have a packet out Friday at the very latest, Monday, to make that inclusionary so council can follow along. But I think we'll look at trying to do a shared screen option, where if we have a presentation or a PDF that we can just follow along with that too, because obviously it will be a visual exercise for everyone. So we'll probably look at doing that due diligence on that in both ways.
All right, that sounds great. Questions from council, please state your name.
Councilmember Nanko Yeager. Question is, when you do the shared screen to show us the presentation, does that activate my video?
I do not believe that will be the case. I'll confirm that, Councilmember Yeager, but I'm not aware that I've ever had that happen in other Zoom calls. But we'll certainly we'll go through that to try to ensure that doesn't activate individuals' video component of that Zoom call.
Oh, okay. I just want to know if we were still going to be more or less on the telephone and not on video, and we just see one way from you.
it should be able to be continued just the one way, where you're just be able to review that screen, and it won't be anyone else's video. So essentially it will still be the audible, correct?
Okay.
Member Schilling, I was just going to add, I know with these meetings, you actually control your camera, Linda, so you can turn yours off even when everybody else is actually virtually on the screen with you. So I know we can do that because others in my meetings do the same thing. They don't want their camera on, so they just listen audio wise.
Well, I'm well aware of that.
All right, any further questions? If not, then we need a motion to approve the virtual road and project tour on Wednesday, May 13th, 2020 at 6 p.m. Do we have a motion to approve?
Member Zarwas move to approve.
Member Zeros moves to approve. Do we have a second?
Member Luger will second.
Member Luger is a second. By roll call, please. Member Zeros,
Aye.
Member Luger,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is yes. So we'll see everybody virtually on Wednesday, May 13th. Number 11 on our agenda, page 56, to consider a proclamation designating the week of May 17th through May 23rd, 2020 as a National Public Works Week in recognition of the Wyoming Public Works employees and all public work professionals, state and nationwide. Mr. Amjad or Mr. Linwood, are you taking this one?
Mayor Iverson, I can take the one. This is City Administrator Linwood. Council, in the past for Public Works Week, we have made a point to recognize their efforts on our social media and our website. But in reviewing this year, I shouldn't say this year, every year, there usually is an opportunity for a proclamation. We just, staff thought that it might be a nice gesture to our Public Works departments and other public works departments are, I guess, in the state and the nation to actually do a proclamation recognizing their contributions during that week of the 17th to the 23rd. Staff will be posting different items that week on social media outlets to recognize all the work that they do for our community and all the work that different public works associations and agencies do in the state and around the country.
A barbecue for our public works, but because of COVID and the social distancing, that won't be allowed again for this year.
We have done that in the past, but as of this year, we hadn't planned on doing that. But you are correct; we have done that in the past. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions from council? All right, if not, first I would like to say thank you to our Public Works Department and also to Superintendent Elmjo. Because of you guys, we have streets and water, and greatly appreciate for all that you do. With that, we do need a motion to approve the proclamation designating the week of May 17th through May 23rd, 2020 as National Public Works Week in recognition of the Wyoming Public Works employees and all public work professionals, states, and nationwide. So motion to approve. Mayor Iverson will motion to approve first. Do we have a second?
Member Schilling will second.
Okay, Member Schilling is the second. I will do roll call. Member Zerwas.
Aye.
Member Luger.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Yeager.
Aye.
And Mayor Iverson is aye. Let's see, number 12, we're moving right along. Number 12 is page 57. That is an addition to our agenda to consider approving the WSB proposal to update the Railroad Park Plan. Ms. Dumas, you'll be presenting.
Yes, thank you. Mayor, members of council, currently we have a plan for Railroad Park that was originally developed in 2010. There were revisited conversations on this park in 2017 that kind of resulted in us recognizing that there were some different opinions on what we should do with this facility than originally what was set forth in the 2010 plan. Some of these include one of the kind of big pieces that people have been talking about is the inclusion of a veterans memorial into the park plan, which is not currently a part of that plan. So we brought, in order to move forward on this park and start putting together some plans for implementing some of this, we really want to have agreement and consensus with what the city council is interested in. We also brought this to the Park Advisory Commission last night so that we can really have a plan of what we do want moving forward with this park. So WSB has provided a proposal for updating the plan process, and that's what this item is looking at. It's kind of redoing the plan and updating it to really reflect what our current council, our current community wants for this park and the vision that they have for the future. And with that, I'll take questions.
All right, council, any questions? Please state your name.
Council Member Nanko Yeager. The total cost of this is $6,300.
Yes, for
And
both
where,
components.
and where is it, and which park funds is it coming out of?
It would come out of our park development fund. Approximately right now we have 166,000 that we have earmarked for the potential of the grant for Swenson Park.
Yeah,
Total between the combined funds of that gambling fund and park dedication fund are approximately 181,000. So the funding would be available through that for this project if the council sees fit to move forward.
okay. And given that the last plan was sitting around for 10 years, how long will this update be fresh before it goes stale?
Yeah, so that our goal is to start moving on this park soon. And that's our goal. It's the different components of it are kind of up to the council in terms of what types of investment, how much investment you're interested in making. That would really be a part of our discussions about park CIP and looking at kind of how long the council is interested in spending to implement that. But that absolutely is part of this conversation. But I think the goal of this is really to update it so that we can make progress on it.
Okay, you don't have a specific shelf life for this plan?
I don't necessarily think that there's any way to determine a shelf life on any plan. I think the idea with any of our park developments, including this one, was done in 2010. I don't know that there was necessarily consensus on that one. I think with this plan is, I think Councilmember Yeager, you were the one that I think brought this up during our goal session to make up a new plan for this and have a more definitive plan that actually matched what the Park Advisory Commission, the City Council, and the community wanted for this. So I think is Assistant Administrator Dumas brought up, it's really as fast as the funding as we want to move forward this in regards to the request in the Park Advisory Commission and that capital improvement plan, how fast we want to do that. I think we're going to make it with the components of that spur. We anticipate that going in this summer, and then the 2021 project along East Viking, adding that sidewalk. I think, I think it's a matter of how council prioritizes this park. If it is in fact a major priority, the time on that. I think as far as the actual plan being in place, I think the shelf life is good as long as the council can agree and it's a plan that we want to move forward with. It's a, you might make you want to complete this in 3 years, it might be 5 years, it might be 7 years. I don't know if there is a anticipated shelf life to it.
Oh, no, I was just curious, more concerned that it's going to take a little while to raise the money because if that grant for Swenson comes through, and even if you get the whole 50%, most of your park funds would be depleted until you could get a lot more development in. And I mean, I've seen plans like Goodview Park. There was a plan like how many years that just sat there. So hence just asking the question. Mm-hmm. Also, there was talk about making putting a history component in the park. And it is my understanding that from a previous program, signs and cobblestones are already in somebody's garage.
I think this is all discussion for when this actually, if the council approves to do an actual proposal from WSB, I think this is all for that engagement piece of what we want to be a part of this park. I know there is some history prior to that design, but I guess it was my understanding the council wanted to update to that design, and whether you determine to utilize some things that were potentially in place or items that the city of Cobblestone, whatever it may be, I think that'll be part of that discussion as we design that park and we have that input from everyone.
Okay, that would be the open house that you have planned?
I think it would be an open house. I think it would be input from our Park Advisory Commission. I think it would be, we'd probably look for different opportunities to do that along with our city council.
Okay, because usually council is not included in plans.
Excuse me, Member Yeager, can you restate that? You were saying that we're not included in any plans?
So normally when such plans are being made, like it's usually just been the actual committee, like the PAC does their own plans, their EDA, when they have a project, does their own plans, and full council is usually not involved. At least that has been my experience from the time I've been on council. Okay.
I'm sorry you've had that experience. I know for me, I don't feel like it's been that way, but I apologize for that if that's how you feel. Would we be able, this is Mayor Iverson, would we be able to use POCO, our new system that we're using to get community involvement? Can we ask questions about parks?
Absolutely.
I think that would be, as people get used to that system, I think that might be a great way to kind of get their ideas, what they're looking at. I know personally, I've had many conversations with residents and businesses that will be more than happy to help with that park. And it's helped with our tree lighting ceremony. People are really seeing what a great opportunity that park is and would like to see it upgraded. That's been the experience that, or conversations that I've had. Are there any further questions? So Attorney Lunan, do we need then to approve the proposal? Is that what we're needing right now?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so I will need a motion to approve the WSB proposal to update the railroad park plan.
So moved.
We have a
So
motion.
moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Member Lugar, correct?
Correct.
And a motion to approve by Member Ziras, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. All right, so by roll call, please. Member Ziras,
Aye.
Member Lugar,
Aye.
Member Schilling,
Aye.
Member Yeager,
Aye.
Mayor Iverson is an aye, and that passes, and I'm very excited about that. So next on the agenda, we will do council reports, and we will start with Member Yeager.
No report. Thank you all for, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching.
Sorry. Member Schilling?
No report, but I just want to thank everybody if you're tuned in. I appreciate it, and stay safe out there.
All right. Member Lugar?
I attended the Park Advisory Commission meeting last night. We've obviously discussed the WSB plan for Railroad Park. In addition to that, the Park Advisory Commission discussed recommending an application for Wyoming to join the Tree City USA program, serving with the Park Advisory Commission serving as the Wyoming Tree Board. And that's all I have.
All right. Member Zirwas?
No report. Everybody be safe out there.
All right. I also attended the PAC meeting. I'd like to welcome Amy Bucanero to the committee. I think she's going to bring a lot of great ideas and energy into the PAC committee. Also, I will be, that's all the committees that we had. We did have the Planning Commission, which was canceled. That's coming up again next week. And I'm excited to report that I have been personally invited to a virtual call with Congressman Stauber to give him an update on Wyoming residents and our businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. So looking forward to that phone call. With that, I am going to ask Member Zirwas if he'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Yes, I would. Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have
Member
a second by Member Lugar, and we're going to go around the room. Member Yeager.
Aye.
Member Schilling.
Aye.
Member Lugar.
Aye.
Member Zirwas.
Aye.
Mayor Iverson says, no, I'm having too much fun doing this, but I will say yes. So with that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.